taking action for you. 7 Action News at 5 starts right now.
Disaster in mid-Michigan.
I've never seen anything like this.
Dams failing, towns underwater.
Devastating. Very sad.
People forced from their homes, the rivers rising.
This is the worst flooding I have ever seen.
Tonight, new concerns over what's in those waters, new calls for accountability, and the devastation as Michigan deals with this historic catastrophe.
And right now, a state of emergency is in effect, and you can see these images so hard to look at. It is a disaster. Homes underwater, roads becoming rivers, and areas not even accessible because of the waters. Good afternoon to you. We thank you for being with us this afternoon. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Alan Campbell, and there's new concern as we come on the air. Here's the very latest. Just take a look at just some of the hardest hit areas. Gladwin, Midland, Edenville, and Sanford, which now appears to be dealing with the brunt of the flooding.
Yeah, here's the point of disaster, the Edenville Dam failing, the Sanford Dam on the brink, and there are big concerns as the water moves. Dow Chemical saying the water's mingled with containment pods.
And the images are just harrowing. Pictures of absolute loss. Homes destroyed, businesses washed away, and roads completely gone.
We do have Team 7 coverage of this historic disaster. Kim Russell with the stories of devastation. Chief Meteorologist Dave Rexroth tracking what's next. But we begin with 7 Action News reporter Simon Shakecat with the very latest developments. Simon, what's happening?
Yeah, Glenda, Allen, the governor says the response to this 500-year flood is going to have to be very aggressive. Behind me, you can see the Tittabawassee River. It's discharging 374,000 gallons per second. The governor asking FEMA to come in with assistance as quickly as possible, and the president on Twitter saying resources are on the way.
It's devastating. Very sad.
Bridges over this river are completely blocked off, as well as many nearby roads as water levels keep rising. In a press conference, the governor telling us the peak will come at 8 p.m.
We know that this water is incredibly damaging. It has meant the evacuation of thousands. And I can tell you, even in the hardest hit spots, there are sources of inspiration here in this building as you talk to the incredible volunteers and people of the Midland community.
We just seen a big deer go down the river. He got stuck.
Neighbor Sarah King looking on with her daughter Barbara and responding to the breach of 2 dams, and the governor declaring state of emergency in Edenville and Sanford. Today, Governor Whitmer pledging to use all her powers to further look into why feds revoked the generator license for the Edenville Dam in 2018 and to get accountability for anyone impacted by negligence.
We just can't get any worse. It's like, but at least we're safe.
In the midst of a global pandemic involving COVID-19, Justin Jarman says he never could have imagined parts of downtown Midland in as much as 9 feet of water, adding to stress and fear.
I'm a surfer, so 38 feet of water moving is dangerous. And so when people's houses and lives are at stake, it's just crazy to think about. Nothing that you can imagine without seeing it in person.
If you're looking for information, do not call 911 unless that is your only option.
10,000 people are now evacuating or have already done so, with water expected to reach as much as 36 feet high. People are staying at shelters at Midland High School, Bullock Creek High School, and West Midland Family Center. National Guard and Michigan State Police also out here in large numbers.
My hope is that the ordinary red tape and things that need to be done in a situation like this, perhaps we can cut through it because of COVID-19 has got so many FEMA needs, and so perhaps we can move this through a little quicker.
And the Red Cross is out here as well. Dow Chemical in Midland has set up its emergency operations center and shut down on site after confirming floodwater mixed with its containment pods. But some good news there. We just got a statement from Dow Chemical telling us they've confirmed that does not create any threat to the people or any environmental damage. Back to you.
Yeah, it's so difficult, Simon, looking at all that devastation out there and the people who are struggling right now. Can you kind of describe where you are and what people are doing in that area?
Yeah, Alan, we're just near a very busy hotel, and you can see some flooding coming into that hotel. This is the area just a block off of the main strip in downtown. People are gathering here. They're taking some photos. Some people actually went into that water, which is not being advised. and people are just kind of trying to take in what's going on here, and we know for the next 3 hours or so the water level is going to continue to rise. So just a lot of fear and concern over what's going on, and people waiting to see how this is all going to unfold today and tomorrow. Back to you.
Yeah, so much devastation out there, and again, we're just praying for everyone who is affected. Simon, thank you for that live report. Glenda?
All right, Alan, yes, we are. That devastation hitting families hard, many wondering what will come next. 7 Action News reporter Kim Russell is in Edenville, the township in Midland County, where one of those dams failed.
I'm on the Curtis Road Bridge in Edenville, and this is just over a mile from the Edenville Dam that failed. If you take a look across the Tittabawassee River over here, you can see debris. That's what's left of homes, a pole barn, and a trampoline. The power of this river, just hard to comprehend. Take a look over here. You can see that there are trees that were carried by the river and then just thrown on this bridge. And these are not small trees. This one, as you can see, the roots taller than my head. People are cleaning up so much damage. You're trying to come this way?
Yeah, we were trying to go across.
David Mason drove up here from Linden with his brother. They want to check on his brother's house on Sanford Lake, but roads to get there are closed. His brother's neighbor said his house is probably in relatively good shape. It's still there.
His neighbor was saying yesterday when this happened, he was watching houses float down the river and boats and sheds and anything you could think of was floating back. He was just sitting on his back porch watching it all go down the river.
We were told to get the heck out of here, so we did, and we were trying to come back safe and stuff, and we couldn't get back down, but apparently it's got a boat.
You can see where the water was, the lines on the house. Mike Williamson is working to clean up the mess left by flooding in his father-in-law's house on the Tittabawassee River in Edenville, just off the Curtis Road Bridge. He says so much that was here is nowhere to be seen.
The grass went another 10, 15 feet, then there was a big concrete slab. He had a dock that was cemented in. That's completely gone.
It's hard to see all that his father-in-law worked so hard for, to create a place to make memories on the water, literally washed away by the river.
It's supposed to be their retirement home. They just bought it 2 years ago. We bought their house. So nothing like this is supposed to happen.
While these people are cleaning up damage, there are other people downstream who are worried about what's coming. You'll hear from some of them ahead on 7 Action News at 6. In Edenville, Kim Russell, 7 Action News.
So much damage out there, and pretty unbelievable to see those trees over that bridge and that road. Kim, thank you. Now, shocking video of Wixom Lake after the Edenville Dam failure. Take a look here. You can see just how much water has been lost in the aftermath of this flood, with historic implications on Midland County. Let's send things over now to Chief Meteorologist Dave Rexroth, tracking what's next in this disaster. Dave?
Yeah, it was just too much water too fast, and as usually is the case, nature always wins. Let me show you what happened. This was Sunday night and Monday. In about a 36-hour period, you can see there's widespread 3 to 5 inches of rain north of there. The river flows from north to south down toward Edenville. It all converged in the river basin there, and then they had the breach and the failure of that dam down to Sanford Dam and then down into Midland. This is the latest number now from the government. This is the action in terms of where we are and where we're going, but I want to show you the record line here is 33.9, already above that as of 2 o'clock, expected to go a few more feet, and then it will take days still for the flooding. This is all about Midland to come inside the bank. So the old record, 33.9, we're over 35 feet now, expected to go to 38 this evening, and that puts us at 14 feet above flood stage. It's the equivalent now, the flow of this river, to an Olympic-size swimming pool every 2 seconds. The volume is tremendous, crushing old records with that. We have some local river flooding, coastal flooding. We'll talk about that in the forecast.
Dave, thank you. And ahead on 7 Action News at 6, 7 investigator Ross Jones exposing past issues into that now failed Edenville Dam and the warning signs. Plus, one Metro Detroiter losing her spot very close to her heart in the devastation. Again, it's all ahead on 7 Action News at 6.
And of course, we continue to follow this historic flooding both on air and online. Viewers have been sending in hundreds of photos, and you can see those photos right now on WXYZ.com. And if you have any photos you'd like to share, we can put them on our Facebook page, WXYZ Facebook.
Turning now to the coronavirus crisis right here in Michigan as cases and deaths continue to rise.
Today, an additional 659 cases were reported in our state with 43 new deaths. That brings the total case number to 53,009 and deaths to 5,060.
This as President Trump goes on the offensive against the Michigan Secretary of State. We told you yesterday about Jocelyn Benson's announcement to mail out applications to all voters for absentee ballots. President Trump threatening now to withhold funding, calling the move illegal. And Benson firing back, pointing out she sent out applications, not ballots.
Our Kimberly Craig is breaking down this bitter battle happening now.
Yes, Glenda. There was a lot of confusion, I'm sure, for a lot of people, because what the president actually tweeted was that absentee ballots were being sent out, and that is not accurate. What is being sent out are the absentee voter applications. Here's Secretary Benson.
It's 2020. We're prepared to push back against any efforts to misinform our voters about what we're doing and their rights. Didn't expect that someone with the platform of the presidency would be using that platform to misinform our voters in Michigan this morning.
Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson on President Donald Trump's tweet, calling her rogue and claiming that sending absentee ballots to 7.7 million Michigan residents is illegal. The president added that he will, quote, ask to hold up funding to Michigan if they want to go down this voter fraud path.
We are just as deserving of those funds to assist our state residents as anybody else. And in the event that the president tries to improperly and illegally withhold federal funds from Michigan, you can be certain that I will sue.
We need to make sure we're doing our part, not to instill fear in people that there's fraud and or that you're going to catch COVID-19.
Republican State Representative Ann Bolin fears Secretary Benson sending out the millions of absentee voter applications could lead to mistrust and confusion. And she says the money would have been better spent on making sure local clerks have what they need, things like more tabulators and high-speed letter openers, as well as gowns, masks, and disposable pens.
The best avenue would have been to go to the legislature or to come forward to the legislature right now to get a special request or bill to allow local clerks, again, to mail, in this specific instance, if there is an emergency, to get those out.
This isn't a partisan issue, that it's something Republican and Democratic secretaries of state are doing all across the country to inform their voters and give them some certainty that they'll be able to vote this fall without having to risk their health.
And Secretary Benson says the absentee voter application is also available for download at michigan.gov/vote. Reporting live, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
All right, Kimberly, thank you. And this just into the newsroom. Ford has temporarily shut down its Dearborn truck plant. The company says a worker who returned to the plant this week tested positive for COVID-19. Ford says it's immediately notified everyone who may have been in close contact with the infected worker. Those individuals are urged to quarantine for at least 14 days. The Dearborn truck plant is working to deep clean and disinfect the entire facility. Production is expected to resume tonight.
And Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan announcing big changes to the annual Ford fireworks show. The mayor was joined today by Tony Michaels, president and CEO of the parade company. Together, they announced that due to the pandemic, this year's fireworks display will now take place on August 31st. The broadcast was originally planned for June 22nd. However, the mayor says the safety of Detroiters is what's most important, so public viewing is not allowed. But he says his team is working to get things back to somewhat normal.
We look forward to supporting innovative ways that allow venues or events, again, to safely welcome their guests at the appropriate time.
The mayor says the show will include a tribute to frontline workers.
Still ahead on 7 Action News, Operation Haircut, the protests against the governor's orders and why police had to intervene.
But first, a new scam warning. The different coronavirus schemes to be aware of so you don't waste your money. Next.
Operation Haircut.
We've had enough. This is ridiculous. We have a right to make a living.
The actions officers had to take as protesters took to the state capitol.
Plus, the plans to go back to school. A Metro Detroit district laying out their expectations for the fall.
And what will our new normal look like? Our Dr. Nandy with a look at what you should and shouldn't be doing as some restrictions are lifted in our state.
A big crowd gathering back at the state capitol for another protest against Governor Whitmer's executive orders. We thank you for staying with us. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Alan Campbell. Today's protest, Operation Haircut, demonstrated against keeping barbers and hairstylists closed.
As 7 Action News reporter Jim Kurtzner shows us, state police were out there issuing tickets.
Peaceful afternoon with nice weather. State police telling me they've issued 4 tickets so far. Open! Open! The first chair became the focus of state police, moving in with warnings.
You continue to cut the hair and defy the laws that you could be subject to being cited. Are you clear on that?
Yes. State police said after 3 warnings, tickets were issued. They will be turned over to the state attorney general. The fines could be up to $1,000.
This governor has overstepped her bounds. She's drunk on power.
State police were not issuing tickets to people getting the haircuts. The cuts were free. Tip jars were set up.
I believe that we need to open back up. Open safely, but open back up.
Today, only a few Second Amendment gun supporters showed up with their open carry assault rifles. This event was inspired by Carl Mankey, a barber in the small town of Owasso. He opened his shop earlier this month in defiance of tickets and a license suspension.
I will continue my work with or without a license.
One massage therapist was also here, rubbing the executive orders the wrong way. Many people were not wearing masks and staying 6 feet away. But the state police warnings did not stop this mother of 4. She says her family needs her to get back to work.
Lost 2 jobs over the pandemic. My husband's a full-time student, so I was the sole income, and I got denied unemployment. So it's been rough.
The organizers of the protest say the state police were keeping more younger stylists from setting up.
And they're terrified because they just watched a couple of the brave people that are cutting hair get $1,000 citations. And these are young people that cannot afford a $1,000 ticket.
They took up a collection to pay the fines. This retired stylist from Holly says it's not just hair salons and barbershops that need to reopen.
All of the businesses in Michigan, not just salons, all small businesses.
The leaders in the Michigan Conservative Coalition say they don't want to do any more protests. They just want the governor to open up business. But what happens from here? In Lansing, Jim Kurtzner, 7 Action News.
Jim, thank you. Well, it's something parents and students are anxiously wondering. What will the school year look like this fall? The West Bloomfield School District is one of the first to unveil its initial plan. And 7 Action News reporter Simon Chowdhury explains how it will look much different than what most families are used to. Take a peek.
The new plan is actually 3 plans, and none of them look like a normal classroom setting. But the school district says they talked to some parents and staff, many telling them that if there isn't a COVID-19 vaccine in place, they're not comfortable with a traditional classroom setting.
We began to see the handwriting on the wall that normal was probably not going to be normal.
The West Bloomfield School District is one of the first in our area that has come up with a plan for the K through 12 new school year. Plan A, half the kids will attend in-person classes Monday and Tuesday and then have remote learning the rest of the week. The other half of students will learn at home beginning of the week and attend school Thursday and Fridays. School buildings will be closed Wednesday for deep cleanings. Plan B is remote learning for all if a stay-at-home order is in place. Plan C will be offered to everyone regardless of the situation, and that's online learning only.
We have lots of families that just are unsure about sending their kids back to school.
The district has already provided Chromebooks and Wi-Fi hotspots for families who need it. Childcare is also going to be an issue for parents on remote learning days. That's why the district will dedicate a separate building for families who need that. But the cost is undetermined right now. Some folks expressed their concern on the school district's Facebook page. Some saying this is depressing or that online learning isn't challenging enough. Others praised the district for coming up with a plan early.
Know that we've considered all the options.
The school year was supposed to start after Labor Day, but now it begins on August 26th. Another issue to address, social distancing might be hard for middle schoolers and high schoolers, but it will be a new learning experience for elementary students.
How we line up to go to lunch or what it looks like when we get on the bus. We're also going to have to remind students about keeping distance.
School officials say if there is a way for traditional learning to start safely, they will go down that path. But until then, families should be ready for different plans.
The whole world is upside down right now. We understand this is really difficult.
And the school district will be hosting a virtual community session on Thursday evening and Friday morning. For a link to that, just go to our website at WXYZ.com. I'm Simon Chowdhury for 7 Action News.
All right, Simon, thank you so much. We're going to take a look at Wall Street today, and all 3 major indices ending the day with gains. The Dow ending the day up 369 points. You can see NASDAQ 190 and S&P 548 points. As for the big 3 automakers, General Motors ending the day up more than 3%. Ford Motor Company gaining almost 4%. And Fiat Chrysler dropped 0.25%. Stay with 7 Action News. Amid this health crisis, both on air and online, we're here for you with the latest, especially on the president's upcoming visit at the Ford plant in Ypsilanti and the request he's getting from the state attorney general.
Macomb County has a new interim prosecutor following Eric Smith's resignation last month. Acting prosecutor Gene Cloud was officially appointed to fill the role today in a 14-1 vote by the 16th Circuit Court judges. Cloud, who assumed the acting role in keeping with the county succession plan, served as an assistant prosecutor in the county office since 2000. She will continue in the role until a new prosecutor is chosen in a county election.
Just ahead, helping seniors connect with loved ones, what they were given to make it easier for them to stay in touch with family.
But first, the Day of Giving, the local event today helping those in need in Metro Detroit. That's next.